Hello, welcome to the Policy and Procedure Training. My name is Courtney Laukitis, and I'm the Program Manager to Student Organizations in the Office for Student Involvement and Leadership. This training is a requirement for the SORT program for all of our student organizations. The president and the treasurer are required to take this training. I have also sent it to the vice presidents and to the secretaries of the organizations. If those positions are applicable to your organization, I highly encourage and recommend that they also participate in completing this training. Housekeeping items before we get started. There is an engage form that you will fill out while I basically talk about all the policy and procedure things there is to know. And you'll just follow along. Each page talks about a specific policy. You'll answer the questions. And then at the end of the training, you can just go ahead and click submit, and that will count for your attendance to complete this training. This is a pre-recorded video, so you are more than welcome to watch the presentation or you can just listen. There's a title page that I will do my absolute best to call out that title page in case you are just listening. But once you hear or see that title page, know that you can click to the next page on your form. And then lastly, because this is, again, a pre-recorded video and training, you are welcome to pause, rewind, start, and stop the training at any point. Just make sure that you are keeping watch of the deadlines for the training to submit that form to engage. If you have any questions about anything, you can get a hold of me. My email is sort@wright.edu. That's SORT@wright.edu. So let's go ahead and get started. The overview for this presentation, so this is everything that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about why we focus on policy, and then the following policies: alcohol, event, film and video copyrights, food policy, hazing, posting, and then the SORT policy. So by now, we're at the why policy page. You should be on page 3 of your form. The title page is also the title of the page on the form. So I hope that makes sense. But yeah, let's talk about why we focus on policy in the first place. Higher education is actually driven by policy. It is something that is overcomplicated sometimes and maybe a very general thing, but policy in and of itself keeps you safe. It also keeps information and processes consistent, and then it holds the university to a level of responsibility, liability, and practice. Again, policy is created to be somewhat general, but also provided in a very specific way at times. It kind of reminds you of your constitution and bylaws to a point. We do have 200 student organizations on campus, and so I always like to ask the question of, could you imagine not having policy for things like event, food, alcohol, posting policies, all the good stuff? Like, that would just be absolutely crazy. So I always say yikes whenever I ask myself that question. But policy is very similar to the laws that we have. You know, could you imagine a world where we didn't have stoplights, or we didn't have no shoes, no shirts, no service kind of a policy? So just think a little bit about that. I know that policy can be kind of complicated and not always clear, but if you ever have questions about the policies that we talk about, you can always reach out to anybody in SIL and we're happy to assist you. So moving right along to the alcohol policy. Events with alcohol are permitted to happen on campus. They are also considered a high-level event, which means that the event needs to be submitted on Engage with a minimum of 45 business days prior to the event. Because there is additional paperwork that can be completed, we have to get some different security lined up, and just want to make sure that we have enough time with catering and all that good stuff. Events with alcohol are automatically deemed as a high-level event and are required to have security. Please know that that is just for your safety, just because of alcohol can do crazy things, so we want to make sure that you all are being safe. Additionally, events with alcohol need to be approved by the Director of Student Involvement and Leadership, and that is Eric Corbett. So as soon as I receive a submission for alcohol at an event, I take it up the chain and make sure that I can have the event approved. Everything is all the safety protocols are being put into place, and then we get security, and then we go from there. So just know all of that good stuff about alcohol. The event policy. So event policy is actually a lot bigger than what we talk about, but these are the important things that you need to know from a student organization standpoint. All meetings and events that are held by active student organizations must be submitted on Engage for approval. That includes meetings that you're having as an entire organization, as a committee, as your executive boards, or if you're having an event that is just for your student organization, it may be a virtual event or it's on campus, or eventually whenever we get to off-campus events, you also will submit those events on Engage as well. There are some timelines that are involved with the Engage process. So if you have a low-level event, which would be something like a meeting or a tabling event, please submit your events with a minimum of 5 business days in advance. That is one of the most important things you could ever learn from this training. 5 business days in advance for submitting events on Engage. If you're having an event that is maybe medium level, so let's say you're having maybe a movie night, or you're having an activity that you're doing in the atrium, that would be something like a medium level. Those requests need to be submitted minimally 5 to 30 days in advance. And then an event like a high level event, which again is something with like alcohol, or maybe it's a campus-wide a dance or something, and maybe you're bringing off-campus people into the event, that is something that you should be submitting 45 plus business days in advance. Events are required to be submitted within these timeframes because of the services that may need to be requested through other offices and departments such as CATS, facilities, Chartwells, and others. The one other really big thing, and I actually have it here in bold on the presentation, is that I want you to know that we ask you to submit the events on Engage so far in advance because it allows you to get your ducks in a row and to properly market the event on campus. We'll talk about marketing later on, but I cannot stress enough how important it is to not wait until the last minute. And as we work on having more in-person events, if the event is not submitted within 5 business days and it's a low or medium level event and it's on campus, I will deny the event because we don't have enough time to schedule everything and do all the paperwork and all that good stuff. If you have questions about the timeline, please let me know. I'm happy to explain it further in detail with you, and we can talk about things additionally if you have other questions too. So with the event policy comes the event risk level assessment, and this is an updated policy that myself and Eric Corbett are working on. There are times where student organizations have events where you may request security or we may require there to be security. Event security is based on a rubric where we identify critical risk factors, which can include if there's money being exchanged or if there's like an entry fee or anything like that. Alcohol again, the date, time, and location, the amount of attendees, the nature of the event, there's like a whole list of them. If you have so many critical risk factors, that takes your event from a low to a medium to a high. Some examples of those events would be high level, would be like a concert, a campus-wide movie, carnival, inflatables, 5K run, alcohol served, all that good stuff. Medium level would be something like a speaker, somewhere where there's like medium involvement or a vendor performance, a talent show, anything like that. And then the low level events include tabling or meetings. Some of the tabling could include recruitment, bake sales, grab and goes, all that stuff. Your meetings could include executive board meetings or general body meetings. Film and video copyright policy. So motion pictures and other audiovisual works that are available for rental or purchase are intended for private and personal use only. To show in a public space, you must have a separate license that specifically authorizes the public performance of that work. You can obtain the rights to movies through different major companies. The company that we use is Swank. I think we just ended up using them based off of marketing materials and stuff, but there are other big companies out there that you can purchase movie rights and basically rent the movie. The movie rights can cost anywhere from $200 up towards $600, depending on what movie it is, who made it, and how quickly it has been out on DVD. So purchasing a movie through something like Fox that's been out, or DreamWorks that has been out for, I don't know, like 10 years, that may only cost $250 for the rights, but a Disney movie like Soul that was just released, in November, that may cost to the upwards of $600. We will be asking for you to provide proof of movie rights. If you don't have the movie rights at that time, please let us know. We can work with you and help you to purchase those movie rights and go through the whole process. Or you can just provide the movie rights to us at a later date, but we won't be able to approve your event until we have that proof of the movie rights, just so that you don't get in trouble with the law. Fun fact. Okay, moving on. Food policy. You may know that Hospitality Services, also known as Chartwells, they are our partner on campus to provide catering services to your meetings and events. If you're having food at a meeting or an event, you are required to utilize Chartwells first before going to an outside vendor. We have a contract with them, and they have plenty of opportunities to provide different types of catering if you need breakfast or lunch items, hors d'oeuvres, dinner items, anything like that. For your events, you are most definitely required to use Hospitality Services for your events, because it is being held within the university facility and on university property. So just be mindful of that. We also have food in offices as a part of the food policy. Students may not provide food to any event that involves a person outside the immediate organizational membership, but there have been times, a great example is like student involvement and leadership. We have our own potluck, and because we are an office of the campus and we are creating bringing in our own food that we have made, we're able to do that. But as a university-sponsored organization, for your events that are happening on campus and open to everybody, you have to use Chartwells. There is a requirement to submit your catering forms 15 days in advance, and you'll work with Hospitality Services. I've worked with Jackie and Nikki before, and they are phenomenal. So you can search for them on the website. We also have their contact information on the Engage page as well. If you have any additional questions or challenges, please let us know. Additionally, with the food policy, that also includes confectionery items or for bake sales. So those items include cookies, brownies, popcorn balls, bread, muffins, rolls, pretzels, donuts, all the good kinds of candy and fudge, everything like that. The regulations for bake sale and confectionery items is that it must be wrapped prior to arriving to campus. You must be able to provide what the ingredients are. So you need to submit or put on the confectionery item, every single one of them, what is in the item. So if there's peanut butter cookies or any type of egg or dairy items or anything like that, you need to submit that on there for contamination purposes and for allergy purposes. We wouldn't want to have anybody go to the hospital because they didn't know that peanut butter was in the cookies. So just be mindful of that. And then please always make sure that your carefully washing your hands and using extreme caution before handling the food and while you're handling the food. And then another thing that we recommend and require is that you identify on the engaged submission that, or like the event submission, that you are having a bake sale versus like a recruitment tabling or like a marketing tabling. You are not required to have a food license to sell confectionery items for bake sales. So you don't have to worry about that. But then for non-bake sale food items like a pancake dinner or a spaghetti dinner, grilled cheese, hotline, that sort of thing, you are required to have a temporary food license. You can also work with Chartwells on having those types of events as well. So just know that they're there to support you for that. Hazing policy. The Wright State University is in accordance with the Ohio law, which does not permit hazing. Hazing can happen within any organization. It's not just fraternity sorority life. It's not just sports. It's literally could happen anywhere. It can happen to a student as an individual or to a group of students. But please know that we do not condone or support or permit hazing to any level. Hazing is a spectrum of things from white to black and all the shades of gray in between. Basically, hazing is whenever you're using and abusing alcohol, you're paddling of any form, you have excessive fatigue or physical or psychological shocks. If you're being forced to do anything that makes you feel different or feel shamed, that is a level of hazing. Please know that this is against the law everywhere, and we do not permit or condone hazing to any degree. But there are definitely ways to report the hazing if you suspect it to be happening to your friend, to your roommate, in your organization, if you are being hazed, anything like that. There are two ways that you can report the hazing. One is through the Office of Student Involvement and Leadership, and the other is through the Office of Student Conduct or the Office of Community Standards and Student Conduct. Please know that if you come to any of us in the Office of Student Involvement and Leadership, we are mandated reporters, which means that by law, we are required to report out the incident to higher ups in the university, where people who are in student conduct, they have their own level of protection and security, and they handle things in-house. So just know that if you do come to one of us, we do have to report out. If you want it to be confidential and you don't want it to be known to other people, you can go through student conduct and they'll help you there. Please remember that the goal is for the students to have fun, learn, and grow in a safe environment. There is no time for hazing. Posting policy. So this is about posting marketing materials on campus for your upcoming meetings or events. There are general posting board locations, and the Office of Student Involvement and Leadership has a complete list of those locations. If you would like to see the different post boards that we have, just like a regular cork board, if you want to see where those are at on campus, we can provide that to you. Additionally, there are posting locations in the residence halls. There's actually 154 of them, and you can talk to the residence halls or the CAs or the Director of Residence Life and Housing, Dan Bertos. He's the best person to start with. They can provide all that information to you about where to submit those flyers and the marketing materials. We also have display cases where there are several glassed enclosed showcases around campus that are designed for organizational or event promotion. We also have a list of those if you would like to reserve one. You can email us or come into the office and we'll help you with that information. Visual boards. Visual boards are something that CATS provide. So if you've ever been in the student union and you see a TV that has different advertisements going by, those are the visual boards. Visual boards, there's a signage request that you can search for on the website. We also have direct access to it on Engage, and you'll just submit whatever marketing materials you would like to showcase to CATS, and then they will set everything up for you. Some other posting opportunities that you have are through sidewalk chalking, which is a request that you can submit on Engage. If you go to the homepage, on the bottom right-hand side of the homepage, there's a thing called Campus Links, and there is a form available there for you to submit your sidewalk chalking request. That approval form will be done by the Office for Student Involvement and Leadership. And then lastly, we of course always have the Cork app. So as your events get approved on Engage, those events will automatically be posted to the Cork app for everyone to view on their phones. The last thing that I would like to make note is that you are not permitted to advertise for events, activities, or meetings until they are approved on Engage. So if your event has been in the queue for pending for 3 weeks, until it hits the approval, you get the green message on Engage, that you are not allowed to advertise for those events or meetings. If we see too much of it, we will reach out to you and we'll take down your flyers and all that good stuff. So please just be aware of that requirement as we move forward. Okay, so this is our last policy. It's the SORT policy. So SORT stands for Student Organization Registration and Training. I'm sure you've heard enough of it by now. But SORT is the new process that student organizations are going through to obtain their active status. This is a requirement for the registration and the trainings, and it's an annual thing that you'll complete from year to year. Failure to complete SORT after the last deadline, which will be notified in an email, will result in your organization being a frozen status until the next opportunity to register. Presidents and treasurers are required to complete the role-specific trainings. We also, again, have trainings available to vice presidents and secretaries. Those are not required, but just highly recommended if those positions are applicable to your student organization. And then if you end up changing leadership throughout the semester or the academic year, please let us know by completing the leadership change form, which is available on Engage. It's on the homepage under the campus links, and it's called Leadership Change Form. When you fill that out, you'll identify who the outgoing and the incoming officers are, if you are changing your advisor or anything like that. And then I will receive that information to share out the trainings. It is so important for you to understand that the trainings are a part of you becoming an active student organization. So if you do not have a current treasurer or president, you are actually not an active student organization. So while you're in that time of changing your leadership and the trainings being done, your status on Engage will go from active to frozen until everything is completed, and then you'll go back to active. If you have additional questions about that, you can always visit the SORT website at www.rate.edu/SORT, or you can send me an email at sort@rate.edu for more information. Okay, so that takes us to the last page of your training form. There's a box there for questions. This is provided to you just because we are virtual for this training. So if you had a question about anything that was said during the training or something that you've been wondering about from past experiences or anything, you are more than welcome to put that question in the box and I will reach out to you via email. It is not a required thing for you to put anything in the box, so if you have nothing to say, don't worry about it. And again, my contact information is available there on your form and also here on the screen. The best way to get a hold of me regarding anything for registration and training is through the SORT email, so sort@rate.edu. And I also have virtual office hours if you ever want to pop into my WebEx room and we can chat about some things there. So make sure that you have filled out all of your questions and that your form is ready to go. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and click submit and your attendance will be counted for this training. I really appreciate your time and attention for this information. And if you have anything that you need to contact me about, feel free to reach out. But I hope you have a good rest of your day and we'll talk to you soon.